Good to go.
Okay, 7:05, we're starting the 11/17/2021 edition of the Norwalk Historical Commission meeting, 1 week early. Hopefully Eric and Lisa will show up. And call to order. We do have a quorum, right? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the minutes I didn't send out quite in time for everyone to look at. I don't even think I looked at September's yet. Those needed some correction as well. So the October minutes did need some corrections that we'll need to go over. So I don't think we can vote on that yet. There's Eric.
Excuse me, Dana.
Yes.
Didn't we agree that we would accept was that the 9:22 minutes as corrected?
Oh, right, by Eric.
Didn't we respond back?
I think so.
I did.
Except for maybe me.
Oh,
I'm fine with that.
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
So again, we'll need to put off accepting October's minutes until next month. Wait, yeah, October, yeah, this is November. So do we need to do anything about that, stylistically, meeting wise?
Well, so you've accepted the one set of minutes and then you're going to
Yes.
table the other minutes till the
Okay,
next
table.
meeting.
Okay. And do we have any public participation folks tonight? I guess not.
Not seeing anyone.
Okay. So next up is reports from boards. So Norwalk Historical Society, Diane Jelleret.
Good evening, everyone. As you know, we finally opened the new exhibit, Norwalk's Changing Communities Before 1835. Pre-opening was November 4th, and opening to the general public was on November 7th. Thank you to everyone who was able to come and celebrate with us. It took a few years to get it there, and now it's there. It will be up for a few years for those who've seen it. We're very proud of it. And hopefully we're going to have lots of visitors through Mill Hill to see that exhibition. We also had our first lecture, Sheldon's Course, 2nd Regiment Light Dragoons by Eric Chandler. Thank you so much for giving our kickoff lecture, which was on Saturday. It was well attended, learned a lot. Every time I listen to that, it's just like, why would anybody want to go to war, right? It was very enlightening. So thank you again, Eric, for your lecture. And now we're going into a series of lectures that are surrounding the exhibit. And there's one tomorrow night, Native American Foodways. That is with Rachel Sayet. She is a Mohegan tribal member and an Indigenous educator, and she's going to focus on food sovereignty and bringing back traditional Native foods. So that is tomorrow night, the 18th, at 6 o'clock. So if you can join us, please sign up through Eventbrite. And we have a couple of lectures in December 2nd. This one is with the Firelands. So when Norwalk was burnt in 1779, there was land allocated in Ohio. And that is where the 2nd Norwalk is located. And we are having the historian, Henry Timon, is going to give us a lecture on what happened when they settled out in the Firelands, out in Norwalk, Ohio. So that should be kind of exciting. Again, just sign up for that through Eventbrite, and that is on December 2nd, which is a Thursday, and it will be at 7 o'clock. And So and the other thing that we're going to do, we're going to have an open house, a holiday open house. And normally we have it at the museum, but this time we're going to do it at Mill Hill. Again, an opportunity for people to come out and see the new exhibit. And this time we will also have the Little Red Schoolhouse open and the Fitch Law Office open. So all the buildings will be open on that evening, which will be December 12th, which is a Sunday from 1 to 4. And keeping with our tradition, we are asking that people bring non-perishable food items for the open door shelter on that day. So there's a few things going on in December for the Norwalk Historical Society. But so we're very excited that we finally opened the exhibit for the public, for the city of Norwalk. And again, I want to thank the city of Norwalk, the Historical Commission for participating and giving us funds, along with the Connecticut Humanities. So we're just very excited. So next year we get to start with something new. So hold on. So you'll hear all about that next year. But that is what we're up to this year. Is there any questions?
Diane, are these lectures recorded? I think they are.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And some of them, there's a cost to a couple of them, like $5 per household. So anybody who signs up will automatically be sent the recording that will be available. The ones that are free are usually on our Facebook page. And I didn't realize, so a lot of people don't realize, we have a YouTube page. So you just look for Norwalk Historical Society and you'll see everything that we've uploaded. And there's also recordings on our Facebook page too. So YouTube, Facebook, if it was a cost, we give you the link to it. So even if you miss it, you can see it later.
Okay, terrific.
I have a
And
question
yes.
for Diane.
Yes.
On December 9th, when
Yep.
Ernie speaks, who's invited? Just the Norwalk Archaeology Club? Or
Well, December 9th, I'm just double checking with Samantha to make sure that's on because she did not put that on the calendar.
oh,
Yeah, so I'm double checking on that. So I hadn't heard a response from her yet, just to make sure it's actually happening on December 9th. Because we had to check with, it's Ernie. So we'll let you know.
Thanks, Diane. And yes, that new exhibit looks terrific.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up is Lockwood Matthews Mansion and Susie Kilgore.
Hello, everyone. The exhibition, Diane, sounds wonderful, and I look forward to seeing it. At the mansion, as you know, we've had Netflix, which is finally winding down. They finished shooting inside, and now there's still some outside shooting. So we are still have to keep some of the furnishings, the curtains, etc., on for them, cancel our tours on December 1st to allow for them to shoot, because they said that the inside has to look exactly the way it was during the filming inside, even if they're shooting on the outside. Exciting news, we just been nominated for the second time around by USA Today as 10 best historic holiday house tours. We, of course, will rely heavily on all of you and the city of Norwalk and everybody in Connecticut to vote for us to be able to do what we did last year, which was win the award as 10 best, and also be able to be ranked number 5, above even some of the historic house in Newport, Rhode Island. On December 8th.
Excuse me a second. Is there any
Yes.
money involved in that other than getting people's attention? Do we get any?
No, there's no money, but there's money involved because people get excited and will
Yeah.
come to see the exhibit.
No, that's
So it-
great. That's terrific. Yeah, I just wonder if there was any
Yeah,
special.
no, there's no special prize. It's just pride, but
pride.
it does increase our chips in the world of, holiday house tours. We're opening our holiday enchantment at the mansion, curated by Stacy Danielson, with the assistance of our curatorial committee and Mimi Finley and Paul Vieder. And that is on December 8th. And you will all be receiving an invitation because we've decided to do an open house for you guys in the city of Norwalk. Officials, that will be 4 to 8 p.m. And that we had not sent any invitations because contractually with Netflix, we needed to make sure that they didn't need the inside of the mansion anymore. Otherwise, we would not be able to set up the exhibit, but we got the green light a couple of days ago. We're also partnering with Seasons Readings and JIB Productions in Westport for wonderful performance, a theatrical performance, tour of the mansion and reception. That will be on Sunday, December 12th at 3 o'clock through 5 p.m. on that day. And that's the news for now. If you have any question for me. All right, well, thank you so much for
Thank you,
listening.
Susie.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for reports. First on the list is buildings.
Not a whole lot to report. The project at Mill Hill is going along slowly, working issues out with the contractor and trying to get material. So I suspect that project's going to linger on into the spring before it's complete. Spent part of the day today with our handyman working on some issues at the carriage house. We also put in a big mailbox for them and address numbers on the door and replace some panes of glass, and same thing on the gardener's cottage. We're probably going to look at replacing the whole front doors on the carriage house because they're really falling apart. But I'm going to talk to the mansion architect, David Scott Parker, about that and how we go about that. And building wise, I did meet with Facilities Management and Guardian Services. They're a company that manages the facilities for the city, all of our buildings. And we did a walkthrough of the Mill Hill buildings. Once all the Netflix stuff is over with at the mansion, we'll do all the buildings at Matthews Park, but they're very receptive, and the maintenance people, I think, from Guardian are pretty excited to have some new buildings to play with, and especially ones that aren't in horrible shape since we've already done all the hard work. So that seems to be moving along smoothly.
Hey, if I can interrupt. So David, I mean, it's no secret you've done a tremendous job on this all these years. Are you going to be able to stay involved at all with these guys? Because I don't think they're going to be able to do as much as you did, quite frankly. And I hope you can at least not do the work, but at least be there to advise them from time to time.
Well, thank you. I think they'll do a better job because they will build systematic schedules to do things like keep the gutters clean and change the furnace filters, and I'm pretty haphazard about a lot of stuff. And on the way I'll stay involved, of course, I'm still on the board of the Historical Society, and try to help the mansion out. So if there are any issues, I'll get involved. But the capital projects, the Historical Commission will still oversee, and I intend to stay involved in that because because it's just something I like doing as long as, until you guys kick me out and tell me to stop, I'm just gonna keep doing it. Because I have this, vision of where I think all of these buildings and stuff need to get to. And I want to see that through. So, we're not relinquishing any of that. I mean, the good news is that they'll run the projects, like they'll do the RFPs, we'll just approve them. We'll prioritize the work, we'll approve them, but then they'll, get the RFP out, and we'll work with them on selection, and then they'll manage the contractor and in turn, and so we won't have to do all that. So, and that will be a better result because, frankly, they're going to be much better at managing the contractors than I ever was, because it's their job. They know what they're doing. So I'm very optimistic about all this.
No, I've spoken to Alan, I've spoken to the mayor's office, so I think it's all set on their side. I just don't want to lose your perspective and input. So we will call on you.
I'm not going anywhere, and I'll still be probably in pain.
Right, thanks.
Okay, thanks. Cemeteries. I don't think I have anything new to
We did,
report.
just so you know, we installed some new posts for the North River Valley Trail signs in Pine Island Cemetery, and Mike's crew came in and fixed part of the trail that washed out. It looks really nice.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm probably going to try to prune the street trees to limb them up so you can see into the cemetery before it gets too cold.
Mhm.
That's about it. And I don't know, Dana, you're going to probably mention somewhere the bridge issue.
Right. In new business, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and I showed David how that tree just fell straight through didn't hit any stones, didn't hit anything. And the one in Brookside that I had marked for taking down, but it took itself down.
Hey, on that subject, I'm getting calls from the neighbor on Rowayton Avenue, 411 Rowayton Avenue, about the trees. Dana, is that what you're referring to? That's not.
That's actually not, this is a tree inside the cemetery. That person has been complaining about trees wrecking her car. I'm not sure what exactly she considers wrecked, but she has been mentioning that to me for years. It really should be sent to.
Well, I had Public Works go out there. I had
Yeah.
Public Works go out and took a look, and the trees are certainly healthy. They didn't see the issue that she's apparently seeing, but I just wonder if you'd heard anything.
So
Yeah.
I did. I got a call from the mayor's office telling me that this woman called and said it destroyed her car and she wanted the tree cut down, all this stuff. And I finally decided on that one I had enough. And I replied, sent it to Alicia, and I said, you know what, I'm a volunteer. I'm not gonna call somebody so they can yell at me over something that I really am just a volunteer. And so she got Ken Hughes to talk to her, and I didn't follow up because I don't care. And the reality is that yeah, I mean, I talked to her several years ago because I was out there working. And the thing is, she has a right to cut any limbs that are over her property line. And what she wants is for us to cut all the trees down on our side.
Which we're not going to do.
Well, and by city ordinance, we can only take the trees out that are in danger of falling.
Right.
And, Ken's looked at these trees several times over the years. So, she has the right to hire a tree company and trim the stuff that's hanging over her property line. And that's what she needs to do.
Yeah, she just called me again last night. Just curious what you'd heard.
That's it. And you might want to talk to Ken Hughes to see if you
Yeah.
talk to him.
I will, thanks.
Okay, so now on to financial.
So I just turned in the operating expense budget which I had in front of me a second ago. Oh, here it is. So we're basically going in with a flat budget. There's really no changes. We don't really need anything additional, but our budget will be decreasing because we're going to transfer about $15,000, $16,000 of budget over to facilities management for the monies that we spent on maintaining the buildings. So that's going to come out of our budget and go over to theirs, which is pretty much a flat, it's a wash to the city. It's just moving from our line to their line. Going to finish the capital, but got to submit the capital budget tomorrow. I am not submitting a lot this year like we usually do, but mainly because we have some unspent monies in the Mill Hill account. I may need a little more there, but on the museum, we actually have money left to do the kitchen and to cover the work that we have planned next year. Same thing on museum collection. Wasn't going to ask for anything on cemeteries, but I'll look at those numbers again. The big ask, of course, is the mansion that Patsy mentioned last time. The shortfall for the big project, it's in flux. And I think it's going to come down because they're scrutinizing it and really working it. But it's $6 million. So we're putting in for $6 million. Don't expect to get that, but that's what we need. So we're putting in $6 million. And hopefully, we can shave that maybe by a couple million. And then hopefully, the city can come in with some, and maybe we can get some from the state or the feds or somebody, but we just got to get that project done somehow. And we don't want to lose the $5 million that the state's already committed to. So, and then second to that, I'm going to ask $125,000 to continue the work on finishing the jail. I'm estimating we need $125,000 next year, and then $150,000 the following year to completely finish the renovation. So we'll be asking for $125,000 for that. And I think I calculated we needed about $10,000 more in the Mill Hill account to cover the work that needs to be done there next year. So taking away the mansion ask, that's a pretty low ask for us. We usually ask for between 475 and 700,000. So we'll only be asking for about 140,000 plus 6 million for the mansion. So there you are. That's the deal.
We'll have a bake sale.
Yeah, and thing is, for all the other projects, we things got slowed down in COVID, so we have money to cover those, and hopefully we'll get those done next year. So, any questions?
Nope. Thanks again, Dave.
Sure.
Next up is old business. Do we have any old business?
So I think the only old business, some of you have not seen this before, but I had Laura send them out. This is our rack card. This is our first attempt at marketing. And we designed this actually 3 years ago. And we did send it around to all the organizations to review and all that stuff. And we finally got it ready to go. And then COVID happened. So I thought, well, this is pointless. And then the city changed their sort of logo to the Visit Norwalk thing. So the great news is that I asked Jessica Casey and Sabrina Church, Sabrina who's in charge of tourism, I said, hey, can I get a copy of that logo to stick into our file? And Sabrina replied back and said, yes, you can. But if you want, our graphics people can do it. And I said, well, that's great, because our graphics person was a volunteer who's like in school and teaching and all this stuff. So they took it over, and we checked all the links. We had to change a bunch of links in there to make sure they're all working. We changed the name of Rowayton Historical Society to Historic Rowayton. So this is sort of one last look for you guys if you want to take it and look at it. And if you can maybe email me by the end of the day tomorrow and see if you see anything else that needs to be changed. And we're going to go to print, because the other great thing is Sabrina said, oh yeah, and we can pay for the printing and the placement of it in racks around the state. And it's like, oh my gosh, we like, are part of a real city that actually markets and does stuff, and we don't have to do everything ourselves. So I was very, very excited about that. So take a look at that, and just if you guys see anything that you think needs to be changed, just shoot me an email. But just by the end of the day tomorrow, because they're excited to get it out as well. So
David, just to get ahead of the game,
Mhm.
I took a look at it. I did a proofread. I found nothing that needed to be corrected, and the card looks really great. It's a really fine job.
yeah, and I just, when you look at it, I think it's amazing how many historic sites we have in Norwalk. So
Yeah.
it's just, I think it's very cool. So
No, it's a terrific, I think it's a terrific job too, and it's stuff that, we've needed for a long time, as you know.
yeah, and it'll raise
Can
our
you scroll
profile.
down to the back of it again?
What's that?
Is there's another side, yeah?
Yeah.
Because I'm just wondering if you put Sono in there. I didn't see it.
So no,
Well-
oh, the whole street.
Well, you could do South Norwalk Historic District. I mean,
Oh,
it's fine the way it is. I'm just mentioning that.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of looking at destinations, that had specific visits and specific websites and things.
And
Oh,
then
okay.
there's
Yeah.
space limitations.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say with the switch tower thing there, people are gonna see all of South Norwalk. They're gonna want to naturally stroll up and down the road.
Yeah.
Right.
And I also proofread it and found no mistakes. It looks terrific.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Now, I just wanted to mention that, but that's probably true
Yeah.
about the switch tower.
Thanks.
Okay, so is that it for old business? I think.
Unless you want to, go back to the demo delay, but I think we finally got that sorted out a little bit.
I think we did approve that last month, right? We approved, and it went on to Common Council.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that was something that I just wanted to check in with you guys on the process for. So you guys approved it last time, and I talked to Steve and he suggested that I should email it to a few members of Common Council and CC Dana on it to kind of move things forward and maybe set a date, but I just wanted to check and make sure everyone was okay with me doing that.
Yeah, and I need to send you all the entire, which I probably haven't done, the entire sample, model ordinance, which I think is way more complex than it needs
Right.
to be. I think what we have is much better. So just keep that in mind when you read it. I only thought what was really useful to us would be the definitions or some variant of those definitions.
Okay, thanks.
So Dana, I just had one other,
Okay,
maybe two other updates. Just one is just an update. As you recall, we applied for a grant to update the Lockwood Matthews Mansion National Register nomination through the non-matching grant program that the SHPO did, where they're not requiring a match. And that finally got heard by the State Historic Preservation Council the first week in November, and they did approve the grant to do a complete update of the mansion nomination, which will allow us to put in the carriage house, the gardener's cottage, the laundry, the gate lodge, and then get those listed on the register, so we can then access the State Historic Restoration Fund to get matching grants of up to $150,000 for every project we do on them. So that's
200
exciting.
now.
It'll probably take I'm afraid to even think about how long it's going to take to get it updated, but we'll get there eventually. So,
And it's up to 200,000 for the HRF now.
oh, even better.
Okay.
And I don't know if you consider the Walkbridge project old business or new business, Dana.
Old business.
Okay.
Yeah. New business
So-
about old business.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring up a bunch of us who had been involved in the Walkbridge project and the mitigation got an email from Kevin Fleming. What was it dated? On November 3rd, with an update of the conceptual interpretive plan for outdoor panels. And we have to respond to them by December 10th. And I was very disturbed about this memo and what they're doing, because what they said was they just mentioned, kind of in passing, buried below in the report, that they're eliminating that in consultation with the federal tribal administration and the tribes, they're eliminating the 2 interpretive panels that they had agreed to do on the archaeology about the fort site. And I responded, why? And, basically got, no answer in the runaround. I've complained to Bob Duff's office, whose assistant looked into it some, and I got a little more of an inkling, but I'm very, very concerned that the FTA and the DOT and the tribes are going in this direction, that they somehow think they're going to suppress the discovery of the fort site. And there are some reasons, and I don't want to go into those right now because I don't have full information. And we probably need to have an executive session on this because we need to talk about our legal strategy around it. But I am very concerned. I don't know if they're making decisions in a vacuum, if they understand that, the location of the site is in the middle of a dense urban area. It's not at the end of some road in the country outside of Norwich. And that it's pretty much really well known where the site is. And in fact, the Norwalk Historical Society has been selling a book since the 1970s that on the inside cover has the map where it says X Indian Fort Site right next to the train railroad track. So
Go ahead.
They,
Did you talk to Kathy?
she approved, she signed off on
Yeah, but did you talk to her?
the thing, and I have not talked to her directly, which
I
I'm
can
going to try
try to call her tomorrow. I can try to call her tomorrow.
I have an inkling of what's going on, and I understand that, but I really have a problem with them making these decisions without some level of consultation with the city. And it doesn't have to be me, it could be, the mayor or Tom, or, I'm very concerned that they're making decisions that are not going to lead to the results that they want.
Well, exactly, because we should have been in that consultation with the tribes, because that was a sit down and shut up letter.
Right, and it's really concerning to me. My other concern is that part of the plan, not our mitigation, not the historic mitigation, but part of the plan is to run the Norwalk River Valley Trail. It's a key piece to the Norwalk River Valley Trail. It's going to go right over the site. And if they're somehow now saying that can't happen, that has huge implications to the Norwalk River Valley Trail and to another piece of mitigation that they committed to the city to do. And they're saying, well, we're hopefully have this wrapped up and we'll talk to you next June. And, last June, I asked them where things were in their last update, and they said they were going to have things wrapped up by December. We would get the archaeologist report. Now they pulled everything back and they're basically not committing to anything. And they're making moves that looks like they want to suppress the discovery. And there may be some reasons behind that, but I just don't think that direction is going to pan out, because my concern is that, is that you can't hide the site no matter what we all say. if you don't mark it, respect it, and interpret it, it's going to get looted and desecrated, and that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
And we have no voice, so it's very frustrating. I want to make sure that everybody a lot of people on the commission, but I don't think everybody on the commission got the document. So I'll send it to Laura to forward to all of you tomorrow. And I think that we're going to need to have a special meeting, probably the first week of December, to decide on our reply and on some options. I mean, they want us to, change the signs to be the general history of South Norwalk, the industrialization, blah, blah, blah. And I haven't looked at their ideas yet to have an opinion, but I think we actually already have a sign on that anyway.
I mean, we can go to the ACHP if we need to, right? The Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, because they administer Section 106.
Yeah, I mean,
I just want to
you-
say something if I can.
ahead.
There's a big problem with the site. And somebody let it slip. I don't want to really talk about it, but it is being held up. I hope I get to see the end of this before I pass away from old age. Can't the mayor talk to the state and the DOT to like have a conversation about what's going on there? Really what's
Well,
going on there?
Senator Duff already has, and I had asked them
Did
to follow
they
up.
tell Duff why? You know, if they told him why this has stopped?
They conveyed some information.
Because I don't think they really want it known, because when you first, I know that site was really listed, it was right on the map. But they got very upset about when it got loose and everybody had to talk about it. So I think they're trying to keep it very quiet about the real reason why everything is stopped there.
Right, but my concern is that they're going to make some decisions that it isn't going to work, because everybody already knows. I mean, 180 trains a day went by the site, and you look out the window and see.
No,
them
you're
again.
right. So we have to sit down, and have a conversation with them, not only us, but we need to talk with them to say, I think they owe us something. I think there's
I
some
do too.
responsibility for them to tell us really what their plans are and what they, how they're going to move forward.
And it's not that we don't respect their concerns. I just want to make sure that they understand, what they're dealing with and what's going to happen.
I think it's under the federal law about what's
It
going
is.
on now. So
It
I think
is.
that they have to do some investigation and from some studies before it could proceed.
So anyway,
Does Mandy still have any say in that site, or would Mandy not know?
Well, she works for the ACHP. That's why I brought it up, and I can talk to Mandy. I'm going to call Kathy Labadia, who did sign off on this for reasons that we don't know. And then depending on what I hear from her, I can call Mandy.
well, and I think Kathy, they're all like concerned about the tribes and the politics of all the tribes and with the state and all that. And I do understand that. But again, they're making decisions on things we agreed to without
Right.
consulting us. And legally they have the right to, because the contract, we're just a party to it. We're not the primaries. It's between the SHPO and them. But again, I saying they're not going to do interpretive signs says to me, well, what you think you're going to hide it?
Yeah, exactly. And
I know 60 metal detectors that are going to go, see what they can find, and 300 people in the archaeology club that, let's go do some amateur archaeology.
I
But
mean,
you've dealt with Sarah Sportsman, right? I mean, she absolutely just kind of blew it away. She's not answering it. And it was her group that did the archaeological investigation. They were the ones doing the study. So
I pushed her on it in June, and she freaked out, and
yeah, no.
she then kind of dumped it all on back on the DOT. And so then I started dealing with the DOT, and then this came, and I was like, everything changed, from their June.
I think they have some responsibility to really sit down and talk to some people in the city. So I don't know who that person's going to be, but
well,
I think we're
otherwise, I'm going to just go. I put my reputation on the line. I wrote an op-ed defending the state, saying yes, we would get access to the artifacts at the end of all this. to, kind of correct the hours crappy reporting. And if that's not going to be true, then I am going to go tell the people of Norwalk that they lied to us. And here's where the fort site is. Have fun.
Yeah, I mean, well, and we're officially, it's not like we have no voice at all. I mean, we're technically officially consulting parties. So, they're supposed to, I mean, it can't just be that those meetings at the train station where they played us pretty much. They can't just walk away and say, okay, we're done with them, whatever the tribes want is fine.
Well, that's what they're doing. And
Yeah, that's exactly right.
it's a problem. I don't know. I can't, I don't know how to deal with it. We all have to collectively figure this out. And I
Right.
think, we need to think of all the options. So.
Well, I mean,
Should city
I'm
legal
new to-
counsel
I'm
be
new-
involved?
I'm sorry.
Should city legal counsel be involved?
Not yet.
I'm new to some of this argument. I mean, I know the history part of it, but wouldn't the tribes want to defend such an archaeological site? Considering that this is like some of the oldest stuff that they've found in a long time. I mean, I don't know a lot of that stuff you guys were talking about, so I'm just sort of just absorbing this.
Yeah. So
Well, you know what? They said everything stopped. They stopped washing the artifacts. They stopped doing everything. So they were going to try to evaluate and look at all the data and figure out which tribes really did the ones that were down here, who was involved in this fort, and they're not really sure. And then it's getting bigger. How did these Native Americans deal with the Dutch and everybody else? So they haven't even gotten to washing and documenting the artifacts that they dug out of the site.
well, they did allow them to finish because they did go back in
I
the
think they
spring
want-
without telling us, and they finished. They said they finished. So I don't know.
Hey, David,
Were they able to get up under the berm, under the tracks?
No, they were never going to do that. That was never part of the plan.
Too bad.
so David, maybe when you think the time is right, maybe it's now, we go meet with the mayor and we figure out a strategy.
Yeah, I have given him a heads up. He knows
Okay.
about it. And
Okay.
so why don't we try to do that, and then we'll set up a meeting where we can discuss all that. Mark, I hear everything you're saying, and I have a lot of responses, but a lot of it is speculation. And because this is a public meeting, I don't want to speculate. And
No, that's
Uh,
fine. Like I said, I'm trying to absorb all of this because
right, it's
I'm new to
yeah.
it.
So
I can send you the link to the site, to the section 106 site and the 4F site, so you can know what those regulations are and the reason that we get to even be involved.
Can you disseminate that globally, please?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
and at a minimum, we have a response due to them on December 10th about what we should replace these two signs with. So we can start there with something, and then can escalate beyond that. I mean, the worst case scenario, the city can stop cooperating on the project. So
This way to the native camp. Bring your own trowel.
Right. Buckets available.
Well, I think you should think. I think you should think about what we should put into the exhibit boards, and worry about really, unfortunately, the Native Americans until it's settled. Like I said, I hope I get to see the end results of all their studies before.
I just don't see. I don't want to sit back and wait, because I don't believe in hiding information from the public. And that's what this looks like to me. And
Right.
And I know that there's great public interest in this. And there's a way to do it and be respectful to the tribe's wishes. I'm sure of that. It is interesting to note, I will say, they have said that this has gone beyond the two tribes in Connecticut, and they involve the tribes from New York, which, you can, again, I'll speculate a little bit that confirms what, tradition around here has always been is that the border of the Pequot, empire was the Saugatuck River, and that our Indians were, loosely part of the, the Mannahatta Lenape Iroquois Confederation. I'm kind of guessing that may be confirmed if they're involving all the other tribes. So we'll see. But
All right, well, we'll talk.
so Laurel will send that out. I mean, if nothing else, let's just evaluate what they're asking us to, which is just the signs. And do we think this is a good idea if they don't want to do those signs? But, I think I want to push back and say, you know what? We don't agree and we don't accept this. But that's a decision we'll have to collectively make.
Okay. Thanks, David. Yeah, I didn't get that email. So
That must have gone to your old non.
yeah, the opt
You're on the
online
list.
shred instantly pile.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Online is the absolute, I mean, they're just, all my aliases are dead. I mean, it's terrible.
And then it kind of came back. Stuff from 6 years ago showed up in my mailbox. But anyway,
Yeah.
on to new business. So David and I were shown what's happening to the bridge over Keeler Brook by Brookside Cemetery on Rowayton Avenue. Heavily damaged in the series of storms over the summer because they had only fixed half the bridge, and that half of the bridge was the downstream part. So the question was whether it was worth pursuing this. It does have a nice arch on one side, but it's heavily damaged. Just concrete, probably circa 1900, you think, David? I think, or possibly earlier, but.
No, they don't. They think it's, sometime in the first half, maybe,
Right.
1900s to 1930s.
Right. So if you look at it's been steadily deteriorating over every week I look at it, and it's just getting worse. So it does need to be replaced, and probably as soon as possible. Again, the lower part was done. I don't know why they did this, only replaced half the bridge, but that's what they did. They fixed part of the bridge with corrugated metal, and the other part's just the original concrete and stonework.
Which
So-
the part they did in the 60s is also failing. It's just
Yeah, it's
not
also failing, yes.
really compromised yet, like the other side is.
But yeah, it does have there's a hole in the road. You could see the stream below. And I learned all about hydrology. So we didn't run it by the whole board of you people, just because it seemed like an emergency. It's going to be the pressed concrete finished when they're done. But this is a bridge that's just barely visible to the driving public or the walking public. So we felt that it was best to go ahead and get this fixed now, rather than it's just going to get worse and more expensive. So that's what we did.
So the bridge, the side that is, kind of historic, the arch support on one side is completely gone. That was the immediate problem. And then the masonry on the other side of that side from the top has dropped about a foot. And if you look at the rest of the bridge, it's about to collapse.
Yeah.
So which they don't want to happen. So they're trying to speed through all the permitting of the project. They really messed up the bridge in the 60s when they made half of it a corrugated aluminum culvert, basically a giant culvert. So it was really, the historic integrity was really compromised in 1960, and then the storm pretty much ruined everything else.
Right. So that
I think for
Yeah.
I think everybody just wants this replaced as fast as possible so they can get the road open again.
Yeah, it has dropped about 8 inches in the past month or two, so it's just collapsing
It's
as
collapsing.
we speak, yeah. What else? I think that's it. I mean, I can send pictures if people want to look at it, because you have to walk on a neighbor's yard to see this very old part. So that's what apples and oranges here we're dealing
And-
with, but yeah.
And the replacement design is fine. It has that, it's the stamped concrete, which, you know, so that there, you know, you when you glance at it, it looks like stone. You know, when you actually look at it, you know it's a form, but
Yeah.
you know, they're making an effort to make it look decent.
Right.
And not, and like Dana said, you don't really see it anyway, but for the neighbors walking around, it won't look like some new modern bridge they stuck in. So
I think, Lisa, you remember a car ending up in that brook like in the past year or so? I mean, it seems like that's happened, so.
I remember hearing about it, but I didn't see it. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of comfortable if the two of you have looked at it and came to those conclusions. I haven't studied the bridge, but I don't really notice it when you drive over it. So I kind of can understand its need to just get fixed, because everybody's going the roundabout route to, you know,
Right.
where they need to go. And then if it wasn't something pretty or interesting to begin with, then restoration wise, anyway, you're talking to the historic commission.
and there's no way to,
Okay with
you know,
that.
if you wanted to rebuild it with the stone, you would build a new bridge with new stone. It still wouldn't be historic. So
Right,
because there's no way to fix it. I mean, it's literally shifting down.
yeah, yeah.
So there's not much there.
So,
And they're worried if it collapses into the river, it you know, becomes, you know, instead of getting it replaced by next spring, it's going to be 2 or 3 years out, and then you have to do detours, and nobody wants that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get it fixed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute myself again because my husband's playing Pink Floyd in the background.
Oh.
Leave it on. Leave it on, Lisa.
Okay, so I think, have we covered everything? Any more new business? Going once. Okay, so we'll figure out a date for this special meeting. Is that for all of commission members, David? The special meeting, or just a few of us?
Yeah, no, it needs to be a special meeting of the commission, because we'll probably have to vote on, we should vote on, or you guys should vote on what you want the response to be. And
Right.
I think that we need to define a strategy of, you know, if the answer is this, or they still ignore us, how do we escalate this and move this up? Because they just don't care. They're so arrogant, and it's just, it's really annoying. But, you know, and it really bothers me, because the historical commission bent over backwards to facilitate their entry into Norwalk on the Walkbridge project. And they are just running all over us now. And I'm like, seriously?
Are you actually surprised?
You know, I always think the good of everybody. And, you know,
I try to.
we arrange meeting rooms for them in City Hall. I mean, it's like, because they didn't even know who to call. And it's just
I am often disappointed, but
Really?
never surprised.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
There
being
you-
on the design team, it seemed like they already had the design in mind. It's like, oh, well, look at this. How do you like this? It's like,
Yeah,
we're
right.
sort of-
Well, yeah, I mean, I really felt played by the end of that. I mean, and you know, I'm a kind of a big believer in the system because I learned about it in grad school, but I'm not so much a believer anymore.
no, not as far as the DOT is concerned.
No.
Well, that's, you know, the 106 and 4F, and they're just blowing through everything.
Right. It's checklist.
I mean, yeah, right. I mean, these are laws that are supposed to make this not happen that are being ignored, basically.
Yep. Okay, so who would like to make a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Okay, that's two, Holly and Eric and Tom. So now, Frank doesn't, okay, so now we, motion to adjourn. Do I say that? Okay. Let's say it so,
Aye.
Jordan.
It was, hey,
Unanimous.
Tom,
Tom?
before you run away,
Yes.
I need to alert you that I'm going to be contacting you in your capacity as a councilman for our district, having to do with some Ida-induced water issues that I need to bring to your attention on behalf of Ledgebrook condominiums. So
Can't wait.
get your aspirin out. Because not only
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Eric, you're on mute now. I can't hear you.
not only am I going to be forwarding material to you, it was forwarded to us in not the most coherent condition.
From Ledgebrook? No, the mayor lives in Ledgebrook.
Yeah, I know. But he wasn't on the side that got flooded.
All right, send it to me. All right.
Okay,
Just to warn you,
That'll pay me to come to these meetings.
that really will.
well, why did you move to a place called Brook anyway?
Good point,
Because of the
Dana.
ledge.
Ledgebrook.
All right, with that, I'm
All right.
leaving.
Everybody, happy
Good
Thanksgiving.
night,
You too. Good night.
good night, y'all.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, yep.